In the book, The Phoenix Project, there's a guru character, Eric, that introduces the three ways. It's a novel that's both enlightening at times and really hard to read since it's about the lives we lead as engineers. So to review, the first way is either flow or system thinking. You'll see many talks at this conference about this concept and how to move things from out of your development business and into your customers through your operations. The second way is regular feedback back into the system. The goal is to incorporate as much intelligent feedback as possible, sooner, faster, and cheaper. The third way may be the hardest, but it's also the most important. It's to create a culture of continuous learning. So words like collaboration are a lot easier said than done. Sidney Dekker believes that you can either have a culture that blames or you can have a culture that learns. But you cannot have both. So you're going to have to make a choice. A retribution culture meets hurt with hurt and asks these questions. Which rule was broken? How bad was the outcome? And what should the follow-on consequences be? Does that sound familiar to anyone? A restorative culture actually meets hurt with healing and asks the question, who is hurt? What are their needs? And whose obligation is it to meet those needs? So if you take away one thing from my talk, it should be to Google Sidney Dekker Just Culture and watch the 4 short courses totaling about 1 hour with your team or manager and discuss. Or if you're the manager, make sure that you are watching this with your team. So you want to work regularly to build a restorative culture. This is one where you actually tell the account as opposed to always paying or settling your account. You have forward-looking accountability instead of backward-looking accountability, and you figure out who's responsible, or you figure out what's responsible as opposed to who's responsible. So you have to make it safe to fail. Here you see me on a trapeze many years ago when I was much younger, and that picture on the right, I totally did not make that connection, and I ate it. But it was okay because it was safe to fail because we had safety harnesses. So the DevOps Handbook is a follow-on to the Phoenix Project that discusses real-world stories. In this book, there's an example from Netflix. So in the DevOps world, it's always Netflix, right? So a massive outage was caused by an engineer that led to taking Netflix down twice in 18 months. What would happen at your job if you were to take down your website twice in 18 months? So at Netflix, the engineer was not fired. That engineer was, quote, moving Netflix forward not by miles, but by light years. So mistakes will be made, but we need to have a culture where we have trust in each other. So what happens to your company when it's not safe to fail? The things that you breed are hiding, secrecy, evasion, self-protectionism, a lot of finger pointing, and the thing that's the worst for the business is repetition of errors that should never happen again. So if you've not yet read Blameless Postmortems on Etsy's Code is Craft, this is your next assignment. We need an environment where the fear of punishment or retribution is not allowed, or we're doomed to repeat our failures. An important point that I've used in postmortems in the past is that everyone is empowered to raise their hands signaling when someone says could have, should have, or would have. Because what we're actually signaling there is some type of hindsight bias, and that's not productive. So remember that it's often too easy to place blame at the sharp end, when in fact it's the entire system that produced the failure. So often this may be the policy on the blunt end that needs updating. And so management failures has to be an option. So my personal experience with postmortems is that we had a monitoring system that was going down an average of multiple times a week. Everyone on the team was really upset on this. We were losing people from the team, and we did those postmortems over and over until we actually figured out that it was something where the sand driver was not configured properly. So to review, look up Sidney Dekker Just Culture, make it safe to fail, hold blameless postmortems, and if your culture isn't restorative yet, work to get it there. You want and make sure that that's what your company becomes. So my name is Blythe. I really appreciate being welcomed to be part of the community here in Des Moines and part of your show. I help organize one of these in Kansas City. Our CFP is open, and I'm going to hand it off.